Shocking Zepbound weight loss for Tirzepatide. Hi, beautiful friends. I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I've lost over 106 pounds the last 26 months, over 2 years of being on Mounjaro, Zepbound, Tirzepatide compound. And on today's episode, I want to talk about a timeline for great weight loss. I feel like I've been somewhat a success after having lots and lots of failures being morbidly obese. For example, this was me before trying to lift, being morbidly obese, and this is me after. This is currently me now. I love lifting weights. I love the healthy lifestyle that I have as a result of GLP-1. And on today's episode, I want to encourage you about the Zepbound timeline that I used for you to talk to your own healthcare provider. This is never medical advice, but the videos that I do, and I've done over 700 with my daily show for GLP-1 content, is for you to talk to your healthcare provider and punch you there to help you figure out your own Zepbound dosing schedule or Tirzepatide dosing schedule. So for me, this is just kind of the guideline of what I've done, but I really want to encourage you to find your own cadence and rhythm with your healthcare provider. And if your healthcare provider is not good, find a new one. I'm going to be talking about a ton of free resources in today's video. I will link those down in the description link below so you have access to them. They're also on countessofshopping.com, a bunch of them for free, my gift to you. And my free encouragement group is linked down there too. Let's dive in. So I started off, I was on 2.5 milligrams, the starting dose, Zepbound starting dose, for just 1 month. And I'm going to tell you, and you're going to want to stay till the end where I talk about why dosing, titrating up and changing these doses, what the catalyst for me was for those. So 2.5, first dose, 1 month. Next month, second month, on Zepbound 5 milligrams. Now, I was on Mounjaro 5 milligrams. Zepbound and Mounjaro are the same thing, 2 different FDA approvals. But when I started 2 years ago, there was no such thing as Zepbound. Zepbound did not exist with the FDA approval, but Zepbound and Mounjaro are both Tirzepatide, to be clear. So if that confuses you, like, I'm going to say Zepbound, but if you go back to my old videos from 2+ years ago, 26 months ago, you'll see I was in fact on Mounjaro, but it's the same thing, different FDA approval. So 2.5 milligrams, 1 month, 5 milligrams, 1 month, 7.5 milligrams, 1 month. So in 3 months, I went up doses, 1, 2, 3. Mind you, there's studies that have come out about people who have the most success on GLP-1 medications are non-type 2 diabetics, women, and surprisingly, age does not play a factor. Woo! So whether you're older or younger, you're more mature, I should say, not older, you have more wisdom or younger, that does not play a factor in GLP-1 success. It is showing right now, and the other component of that is biomarkers, which are still getting tested. So those first 3 doses, 3 months. Month number 4, I started Zepbound 10 milligrams for 3 months. Part of these changes were not my own. They were because of the shortage. And I am grateful I am on the highest dose, which I've been on for quite some time, but I was on 10 months, Zepbound 10 for 3 months. So that was 6 months. I was on the 4th dose, basically, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10. Then it bounces up to Zepbound 12.5 milligrams. I was on that for 6 months. Yep, so that was the whole entire first year, up to the second highest on the tier of doses in 1 year, 1 full year. Then I started Zepbound 15 milligrams, which I've been on for the last 14 months. And that is the highest dose. I wish I could titrate up, but there's nowhere else to go. I wish I could titrate up, but there's nowhere else to go. And one of the things I want to encourage you with your dosing, Zepbound dosage schedule, and your timeline, your weight loss timeline, because within that scheduling, I lost 106 pounds. Could I break down for you each weight loss within those doses? I could, but I feel like honestly, that is not best serving you because comparison is the thief of joy. I really want to encourage you to run your own race with respect to a healthy weight per week is 1 to 2 pound weight loss per week. If it's more than that, and that's one of the things that I see is like, and I did it, my first week I lost 11 pounds, but if you know the back end of that story, part of that 11 pounds in that first week is because I binge eat my brains out prior to. And I had a lot of salt and like yucky, my body was not healthy. There was a lot of yuckiness that needed to be expelled basically, and it was. To move into this healthy lifestyle in which I am right now. And so it is not, in my humble opinion, I could go through this video and tell you the specific timeline of how I lost the 106 pounds to where I am today over the last 26 months. But I think it's better to talk about dosage because that's really where you can fit in with your healthcare provider on that. Losing a tremendous amount of weight very quickly for me was scary because of loose skin. It can lead to pancreatitis, appendicitis, which we know are the more serious side effects of Zepbound. But I don't want the loose skin factor, which I still do have, by the way. I mean, with 106 pounds, even regardless, people are like, oh, lift weights. I do. Trust and believe I do. I do lift weights. There's no many arm curls I do. There's still some jiggly wigglies. Eventually I'll get a plastic surgeon to take that off. But what I want to encourage you on is go into solution oriented mode with this. And so twofold for me on this in terms of the timeline with dosage is appetite suppression and food chatter. We're going to talk in depth about those because I feel like that was the most coaching I needed back when I first started, like in those doses, like my first year, I'm like, I wish, and even in year 2, I wish there was someone coaching me along with some of these specific things. And so I want to hit on them because I feel like they will be most helpful for you. For me, learning over really the first year I honed in on, is it hunger? Meaning for the appetite suppression. Is it mental hunger or real physical hunger? Is it hunger or is it habit? Is it hunger because versus being bored? Is it hunger in my environment? I'm at a party and everyone else is eating, so I should just eat. Like, is it really hunger to eat? Or is it boredom, entertainment, habit of just, I habitually do it, but I'm not questioning? Or is it really physical hunger of where my body's giving me signals and cues to go up and down my head? And that for me has been one of the most challenging, if I'm brutally honest, y'all, let me just be fully authentic. That has been really challenging for me. I'm still at month 26, over 100 injections of Zepbound, still hard for me. And so one of the things that I've adapted in my tools and my toolbox, and I've got a lot of tools in my toolbox that we're going to talk about, but one of the things that I've done is leaning into teas and water and things like that, because truly it's not hunger, it's habit. And breaking that for me of getting my water in, and in particular, I have become obsessed with PIQUE tea. I love their PIQUE teas. I want to show you guys one of them. This was their hibiscus beauty elixir. I'm filming this, it's almost 9 o'clock tonight as I'm filming this because I was momming really hard and wiping really hard today, but I don't miss a video. I don't miss a video here. We here, it's a daily show. I'm not going to miss seeing you guys. So what I do with my PIQUE tea, and they have, by the way, a trio. They have a bundle trio, which I'm going to talk about. But using this and with PIQUE tea has helped me curb grabbing for something. If I'm going to grab for something, it's going to be my 40-ounce tumbler, which is that tumbler not so cute. So I simply just take my PIQUE tea. I love hibiscus tea, by the way. I'm like obsessed. This is the hibiscus beauty elixir for radiant skin. I am bougie, and I just pour it into a 40-ounce tumbler and then a carafe, a 40-ounce or excuse me, not 40 ounce, but a glass carafe, and I shake it. You can use this hot too, by the way. It's hot or cold. I like it cold though. You can just shake it, or you can use a frother to put in. I like doing this, and then I'll put it into my, I got my little nugget ice in there. And for me, grabbing for this, it's caffeine free. It has in there, and that's one of the things that I really like about it, is that it's a healthier choice option. And I want to encourage you with the head hunger versus real hunger. Is it boredom? Is it entertainment? What am I really needing? And getting in tune with that has been so important for me on this 106-pound weight loss journey, and probably for you too. Me being 106 pounds morbidly obese did not come with having a healthy relationship with food. So doing tips and techniques and tricks like this hibiscus tea is so good, so good, so good. I love hibiscus tea. I love this so much. I know some of you guys hate the sound of sipping. I should have been like, warning, incoming sip. I won't sip anymore, but I will chug this when we're done. Usually I sip on it throughout the day. It's become one of my like favorite pleasures of having it. But I really want to encourage you going through the mental checklist. Am I bored? Am I hungry, angry, lonely, tired? Is it something else with it that I'm not looking at that I need to talk about or address? Versus, am I really physically hungry? Is my stomach growling? When was the last time I ate? But having the Herbalife Elixir bundle from PIQUE Tea, and it's PIQUE, PIQUE, has been really helpful because they're caffeine free. And if you saw on my nausea video, their ginger tea, oh my gosh, marron. It comes actually in that bundle set, by the way, in the elixirs bundle. But it has in here, and one of the things that I love about it is that they have, with the hibiscus tea, it has vitamin C in it. It also has on there antioxidants to help promote radiant skin. And I told y'all earlier, I was really nervous about the loose skin. And so going through those different doses, as I mentioned, the first 3 months I went up that ladder quickly. And I was worried about loose skin. And so things like having PT, where it helps with skin because it does have in there the antioxidants, but it also supports common rejuvenation to help for unwinding. So at nighttime, or for me, typically when I have my peak tea is around 2 or 3 o'clock when I'm stressed. Like that's where for me, I'm like, eh. And I used to have caffeinated coffee and that would make me jittery. And I love this bundle set. I've got the other pieces back here too, because I love it's decaf for the hibiscus and for the ginger. And so if you want to have that calm and radiant feeling, but also just changing habits, Peak Tea has been very generous to us. They've given Peak Tea, peaklife.com/queen, QUEEN. And I'll link this down in the description link below. You get an extra discount with it as well. But that has been helpful for me to help navigate away from head hunger versus physical hunger with the appetite suppression. Particularly, by the way, and that's number 2, is on day 2 through 4, I have that peak appetite suppression. So going back to appetite suppression, this for me of getting really fun things that are the calories on there. I mean, this is just awesome to be able to have without having the added sugar in there. It's a tea. It's literally a tea, which is so amazing. Has been a lot of fun to be able to have, particularly with the beauty element on it too. And hibiscus tastes delicious. If you're a hibiscus lover, it's so good. Day 2 through 4 for me is peak, is the highest appetite suppression. Day 5 is when half-life dose happens for Zepbound. So if you start feeling hungry, well, that's why. On day 5, 6, and 7, totally normal. That's when half-life dose starts. Then we go back again on day 1 and have that injection. And so recognizing that and realizing that, and for me, that's taken some time, even after 100 injections, like, oh yeah, I'm hungry because it's day 5. Gosh, that makes a lot of sense. And with that, number 3 is protein for me to ride out that appetite suppression as well. That's made such a big difference. I barely would crack 40 to 50 grams of protein per day, and now I'm having 100 to 150 grams of protein per day. That took 2 years though. That did not happen to me for that first 3 months on Zepbound 2.5 milligrams, Zepbound 5 milligrams, Zepbound 7.5 milligrams. I did not focus in on protein. And if you are, I give you a big round of applause. You are ahead of me, but I am a turtle. I am slow, and that's okay, because you know what? Turtles win at the end. I saw the race. Turtles win. So me just continuing to go along here eventually, and I really do feel like a winner. I mean, literally, I had 2 weeks ago this amazing photo shoot. Like that was because of GLP-1 medication. I don't know if I look the same today. I was momming hard. Like I said, I was momming really hard today and wifing really hard today too. Next, with appetite suppression, with the protein, that helps with that. But then segueing over to increasing the dose, increasing and titrating up is food chatter. That's the mental component. Food noise, food chatter, thinking about food. What meals am I going to have? If you're thinking about food a lot, that's food chatter. Or if you're thinking about other people watching you eat food, or like things revolving around food. For me, it's now looking back absorbently high. And no wonder, because my brain chemistry and having this thing in my gut, this gut hormone, this GLP-1 deficiency, and being able to take a medication to help with that deficiency, of course that's going to help my brain. Now there's so many brain things that we're finding out about GLP-1 medication. They're using it to help with alcoholics, drug addicts, to help with addiction, because it does help calm the brain in terms of that regard of like dopamine and like pain versus pleasure parts of your brain to help calm it down. So the food chatter, is it mental versus old habits? And that was one of the things that I found in terms of my titration schedule that I had to start really looking at Zepbound 7.5 milligrams. I wasn't strong enough to do it on 2.5 milligrams or 5 milligrams. It was into my end of my 3rd month, so going into my 4th month. So really Zepbound 10 milligrams. I had to look at my old habits of what was no longer serving me. Because at this point, I had lost some chunk of weight. I noticed it. My hot husband noticed it, and close friends noticed it. People who didn't know me or like were acquaintances, they hadn't noticed it yet. And if you encounter that, don't worry, babes. I promise it's coming. And gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, that if other people don't notice, they will eventually. Now people are like, I didn't even recognize you. That's one of my favorites. I didn't even recognize you. Or I'm a room mom for my kids' class. People are like, haven't seen me in, months. Oh my gosh, you look so different. I'm like, thank you. I got a good night's sleep. No, I mean, I want to be like, no, it's the GLP-1. The GLP-1 is enabling me to be able to go work out and put in the work to lose weight, because this is work. For me, this has not been like, oh, let me just jab my stomach and the weight's gonna melt off. No, in terms of like meals and figuring out proper nutrition and working out, and then this mental component of it too, of is it old habits that are no longer serving me that I need to drop the rock, so to speak, in terms of those habits that don't help me or serve me any longer. But also part of that, so the yang to this is with the appetite suppression is our bodies are supposed to feel hunger. Our bodies are supposed to feel hunger. And so learning that too has been hard for me. I wish it wasn't so hard for me, but if it's hard for you, I can completely relate. 100%. I can relate. It has been hard for me to really learn what physical hunger is and then sitting within that hunger. Recently, my calories have not been right because I've been lifting and working out and walking 2 to 6 miles. Currently, right now, I told y'all it's 9 o'clock at night, and I've already walked 5 miles. No, 4.5 miles today, not quite 5 miles today. I'm still going to get some time in. I got to do some chores, and that'll bump me up. I'd like to do 6, but I don't think I have time today. By walking that much and lifting and things like that, my calories have need to increase. And so I was very hungry. In fact, I was like, oh my gosh, is something wrong with me? Like, why am I so hungry? What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with me. My body is reacting the way it should. It's like, feed me. You are moving more. You're going to require more calories. So I want to encourage you, in countessofshopping.com, I have a free calorie calculator. It's linked down below. Just click the ... more button. You may need to click that more button twice to get all the full links of all my free stuff I have for you within that. But figuring out my calories has been a part of this too, of like, oh, no wonder with the appetite suppression, I'm not eating enough. I should be eating more, or I'm eating a little bit too much. And I need to, but like that eating too much component really has been helpful, because I have felt like over the last few weeks, I'm like, I'm eating too much because the number wasn't right. My body's giving me signals. And so I don't want to squash those appetite signals that they're giving me. That's not a bad thing. As human beings, we're supposed to feel hunger. We're supposed to break the fast. Hello, breakfast, break fast. We're supposed to have that period of not eating. And so for me, leaning into some of these natural body biorhythms that they're telling us has been awesome. It's made me feel powerful to learn more about my body. And hopefully for you too, you experience that as well. Or maybe you've already experienced it. Maybe you're like, Elizabeth, and I'll be like, I know. But for me, it's been so incredibly helpful to learn these different body cues, body signals, to lean into the appetite suppression, which then goes back to the original point of this whole video, was the timeline for dosage and weight loss, of how much it's helped me to go through on those doses. And do not take a second to compare yourself to somebody on the internet or social media to make you feel badly about yourself in terms of your weight loss and your journey. Because I'll tell you what, in my free encouragement group today, literally there was 5, yes, 5, and there's thousands of people in that group. That group's hotter than hot. I love it so much. It's linked down below. It's a private Facebook group. And make sure you answer all the questions or you won't be in. I'm strict about like who comes in. And email me if you've been on the waiting list, because I'll let you in. I want everyone. All are welcome. But on that, 5 people today, 5, we're talking about weight stalls. And so I want to encourage you with weight stalls, is it a 1 to 2 pound per week? If it's more than that, is that really realistic? Is that long-term? Is that sustainable? Or are you just comparing to somebody else on the internet that you saw that you're like, oh my gosh, she's lost so much weight. Like let's make sure. And same thing for me. Like if you look on the internet and you see my before and after picture, like, oh my gosh, she's lost 106 pounds. Yeah, over 2+ years. 26 months, over 100 injections through, what is that now? 2 Christmases, 2 New Year's, I'm rolling up on my 3rd Easter and 3rd spring break and 3rd summer. And this is taken a hot second. And so by you comparing, if you've just started your journey or you've been on for just a year, do not shortchange yourself, because you've made progress. I know you have. If you're watching the video at this length of time, you are working hard. And I want to validate for you and give you a round of applause and a pat on the back. You are working hard for your weight loss journey. And I give you a big high five and I commend you. because I know that thousands of counts and countesses, we both have men and women in the community, who are working on a daily basis to help improve their health, And that is amazing to me. And that makes me so happy and so proud. I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to be with these amazing people who are working towards it. So as you go through and titrating up, health insurance companies may give you specific guidelines. If you are having, in terms of your dosage schedule, where you feel, someone in the group today was like, I can't keep doing this. I am so nauseous, or they had diarrhea or nausea. Someone had diarrhea, someone else had, it was two different people. And I'm like, why are you going? They're like, my health insurance is making me. I'm like, that's horrible. Like, you should not be titrating up. You should not be going up a dose. If you are having blowout diarrhea or nausea or things, like, pump the brakes. Like, you don't need to titrate up then. Stay where you are. You don't have to do this, because here's the deal. There's recommended dosing schedules. Again, I'm not a healthcare provider, so talk to your healthcare provider. But really and truly, there's not an ironclad. It should not be this robot. We all must do this. We all must have the same amount. No. Obesity is a spectrum, and so there should be a spectrum, and I don't want to should all over you, but I'm going to. There should be a spectrum for patient care, because obesity is on a spectrum. So therefore, patient care should be on a spectrum too. And so it should not be like, at this point do this, and this point do this. That's not how it works though for obesity, because obesity is not like that. We don't have all of the biomarkers and components of obesity figured out yet. It's a great time to be alive, because we are figuring out a lot of them. It's so cool. So cool. We're figuring out a lot. Science is sciencing and helping obesity people so much. And my type 2 brothers and sisters as well, like for our A1Cs, woo! My blood panels have been chef's kiss. And things like PT to help with my blood panels too. Oh my gosh. So I said I wasn't going to drink a sip, but I'm going to. It's hibiscus tea. I cannot not have a sip. It's so good. It's so good. Particularly at nighttime when you just want to unwind, and you can have a hot cup of that too. My sweet friends, okay, if you've made it this far in the video, what are you doing today to move you closer to your goals? Tell me in the comments below. 2, go to PIQUELIFE, PIQUELIFE.com/queen, and get your discount off of your order. I would encourage getting the bundle set that I mentioned. I'll link that in the description link below. Number 3, our emoji of the day today. It's going to be a rose. It's going to be a beautiful flower, because y'all, we are coming out of winter. Proverbially, what is it, metaphorically and realistically. I cannot wait for spring. I'm like, bring on the roses. Today's emoji of the day is a rose. And I do emojis of the day to help me to get to know you better, because I truly do care. It's a way I can really easily see your name pop up and know you and be like, oh my gosh, Emily just commented. Which, by the way, our community spotlight, YouTube does this. I don't do this. YouTube does this. Now. It's so cool. A community spotlight each week. And it changes. So today's community spotlight, or this week's, is Amy, Lisa, Mary Beth, Marjorie, and Elizabeth. High five. And I know there's thousands of you also who are in my community too that I love. I think we've done the emoji of the day. And I will pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, I'll uplift you in positive thought, because all are welcome at the Countess of Shopping table. It's, yeah. I really, truly. My sweet friends, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings, because life is delicious. And check out countessofshopping.com, my website for all things GLP-1. We have been massively working on updating that and renovating that. And there's free meal plans on there that are created by dietitians, and a ton of stuff on there. Best sneakers for walking, and like all of it. How to help with Ozempic face and loose skin. Like, y'all, I've been through the bin through. I've tested it all. I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's daily show. Bye, friends.